one of the least musical members of a musical family, and when I was about 5, someone said, "What are your favorite things in the world?" And I said, "Bach and smoked salmon." And 70 years later, still the case.
What has your lifelong involvement in music enabled you to do as a neuroscientist?
I think music, love of music, teaches one to listen. And my life and my professional life is one of listening. I listen to patients. They come and tell me their stories. They give me their lives. And sometimes I have to try and listen with the third ear, the psychiatrists say, to what they're not saying. Music is an incomparable lesson in listening, and listening at every level, intellectual and emotional. And for me, listening defines the medical life. I think that narrative is an essential part of medicine, and if one has a story, you can connect at the human level. It's not just, what disease a person has, but what person a condition has.
Tell me about Clive Wearing.
Clive Wearing was an eminent musician and musicologist until in 1985 he got a terrible encephalitis which attacked the temporal lobes of the brain, the hippocampal system. The devastation of memory is so great that if something happens, it's lost in a few seconds. But incredibly, he is able to perform, to sing, to conduct a choir or an orchestra with exquisite sensitivity and intelligence. All of us, I think, have very tenacious musical memories, and even if we can't remember anything else, we remember music. The representation and the processing of music in the brain is very widely distributed in many different places. The auditory cortex, frontal cortex, motor parts of the brain. So even if one part is knocked out, the other parts are usually there.
Why did you write this book now?
A lot of the experience part of the book could have been written 20 years ago, but 20 years ago, we had no idea what went on in the brain when people listened to music or imagined music or composed music. There's been a wonderful explosion of musical neuroscience in the last 20 years or so. So now one is able to do functional brain imaging and to see the parts of the brain which construct the musical experience.
You write about people who have brain injuries and suddenly
yes,
an avalanche of musical talent.
One of my subjects was a surgeon in his early 40s with really not much interest in music and not much talent apparently, but he got struck by lightning and had a cardiac arrest. He was dead probably for basically his brain without circulation for half a minute, but then he came to seemingly himself. But about a month later, he became obsessed by music. He started to have dreams that he was composing and would wake from the dream and find the music still in his head. And this really transformed his life. He continued as a surgeon, but music has become the central thing in his life.
So what is music, Dr. Sachs?
What is music? Well, good question. It's like saying, what is love? Or what is the mind? Music is a rich experience, both of pattern and of emotional response. One wants to say, in the Eliot poem, do not ask what is it, let us go and make our visit. In other words, don't ask for a definition, let me turn it on. That's the answer.